January 6, 1967, the Feast of the Three Kings. For hundreds of people in Batangas, Philippines, this was supposed to be a day of faith, celebration, and devotion. Families, mostly women and children, dressed in their Sunday best, their hearts full of hope and prayer. They were pilgrims making a special journey to the church in Ternate, Cavite, to honor the Santo Niño, the Holy Child Jesus. The air was filled with anticipation, the mood was festive. They boarded buses operated by the well-known Batangas Laguna Tayabas Bus Company, or BLTB. It was a convoy, a line of buses filled with joyous devotees, slowly making its way through the province. No one could have possibly imagined that this sacred pilgrimage would turn into one of the darkest days in Philippine history. As the convoy snaked its way through the winding, mountainous roads of Indang, Cavite, the journey became more treacherous. The roads were narrow, carved into the side of the mountain with a steep, unforgiving ravine on one side. Near a place called the Italaro Bridge, the unthinkable happened. Two of the buses in the convoy, packed to the brim with pilgrims, collided with each other. The impact was violent, a sickening crunch of metal, but that was only the beginning of the horror. The force of the crash sent both buses careening off the narrow road. For a terrifying, heart-stopping moment, they teetered on the edge of the cliff, and then they plunged, down, down, down into the deep, dark ravine below. The festive sounds of the pilgrimage were replaced by screams of terror, the shattering of glass and the grotesque twisting of steel. What was once a convoy of hope became a scene of absolute devastation at the bottom of a cliff. Rescue efforts began almost immediately, but the remote location and the sheer scale of the disaster made it an incredibly difficult task. When rescuers finally reached the wreckage, the scene was catastrophic. The buses were mangled beyond recognition. The festive clothes of the pilgrims were torn and stained. Prayers had turned into cries of pain. The final count was staggering, a number that still shocks people to this day. Reports vary slightly, but it's confirmed that over 80 people lost their lives. Official figures often cite between 81 and 84 deaths. Scores more were left with severe, life-altering injuries. The vast majority of the victims were the very people who filled the pilgrimage with so much life: the women and the children. The 1967 Cavite bus crash, also known as the Italaro Bridge tragedy, remains etched in memory as one of the worst road accidents the Philippines has ever witnessed. It was a national tragedy, a day of holy devotion that ended in unimaginable loss. It serves as a haunting reminder of how quickly life can change, and how a journey of faith can tragically become a journey's end. The story is not just about a crash, it's about the 80-plus lives, dreams, and futures that were lost in that ravine on a day that was meant for celebration. It's a somber piece of our history that should never be forgotten.